This is Good Earners reviewing The Sopranos, where we like to talk about everything in the mind of Tony Soprano, from finances to family to finessing and feelings, and not just in any other way of a Sopranos podcast, but we're giving you a new perspective, a fly perspective, and most importantly, the black perspective. What's up with you, Lou, man?
What's going on, Mo? Happy to be back. Another Good Earners episode. Getting to the close to the end to the season.
I know, man. Hey, it's on.
Season one wrapping up, man.
I'm excited.
I am too, man. Been getting some good reviews out there. Been
Oh,
going
man.
good.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. We appreciate the people tapping in to Good Earners.
Yes, sir.
So you want me to read my synopsis now? You got some more? Do we got any more business to handle?
I think we can do it. Big Nothing Burger merch coming soon.
Big Nothing Burger.
You said that last week, and I immediately started like mocking
Drawing
up
it up.
Oh yeah, it was so golden.
I
was like, yeah, we need that Big Nothing Burger. Straight up.
Facts. All right, man. In this episode, this is episode 8, I believe.
Yes, you got
8. Episode 8 in season 1, The Legend of Tennessee Moltisanti. Man, in this episode, The Legend of Tennessee Moltisanti, we get several different conversations about the different Italian American subcultures, how they're stereotyped, their inventors, what they had to go through. We also get to meet Dr. Melfi's family, her psychiatrist, and Chris, our guy, man, as the title says, he's in some sort of funk that he's trying to get out of. And lastly, the overwhelming theme of the episode, Tony and the guys are worried about the indictments coming down. And Tony's mom finally spills the beans to juniors. Let us get into the episode, The Legend of Tennessee Moltisanti. Mo.
Yes,
First
sir.
scene, man. My least favorite part of The Sopranos, as we know this far in. Yeah. We get another one of these weird ass dreams. We got Chris dreaming with some guy he shot. Meanwhile, Carm is in there giving head to a sausage. Did I miss anything? Did this? How do you feel about the dream takes? I can't remember. We know that I hate them, but where are you at with this weird ass dream stuff?
This one wasn't. I didn't feel like it was too wild out there. Don't worry. I heard the buzzer go off. They gonna sub you out, sub me in here. I got you, bro.
Go
ahead. No, yeah. So I thought I think it's just him being very subconscious, which is, I think this is a good thing for him to have on the journey of getting made, is he has the subconsciousness like, okay, I missed something. When he murdered the Czech Slovakian in the earlier, I think the first episode in the butcher store, I think that's on his conscious. He's been having nightmares about it because it's a body. I don't know if that was his first body or what it was, but he's having nightmares about it, that he's missing detail. And then I think just in this dream sequence, there's always things that don't make sense in a dream. I mean, people that are deep in Sopranos, they're going to pull extra out of it. But in reality, I think that a lot of dreams have moments that don't always make sense. But I thought one thing that was interesting, it was Adriana first, then it was Carm. So Adriana was
sucking the
sausage, which I don't remember this until I watched it. I was like, yo. And then it flipped to Carm, but Carm didn't do that. So I kind of took a deep Easter egg on both of them, where like we get to Tony. I feel like the Tony reference, another man's sausage. I felt like that was kind of that for Tone later. And then I think with Carmela, she didn't participate. So you wanted to, but you didn't. So I kind of pulled that like a little bit. I don't know if that was intentional, but that's a part of what I pulled from it.
You think he got something sexual going on with Carmela? You think he likes Carmela?
See that? Well, it's weird because that's his cousin.
That's his cousin, yeah.
Yeah, we find out
maybe some Game of Thrones.
Maybe some Game of Thrones. You never know. I don't know how they do up in Jersey.
Yeah, funny. That's funny.
I thought that was weird too,
though. Yeah, the premonition. I see what we were supposed to get from it is clearly that something was up with the body. I didn't like the dream sequence, obviously, never do like them, honestly. However, I do see what it did to open up the episode that we got in The Legend of Tennessee Moltisanti, and how Crystal went through these stages. Aside from that, this is probably one of my favorite episodes of the series, to be honest
with you.
Of
the whole series?
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely, and we'll get into it later. Speaking of getting into it, the first scene outside of the dream,
Mm-hmm.
that's the wedding scene.
Oh yes.
Mafia movie shows, weddings are where the shit usually goes down. So it was
Yeah.
dope to see. This is always little pickups from The Godfather. Of course, it started with the wedding. So you have this here. All the guys are around. It's a wedding. I believe Big Pussy daughter's getting married. It looked like.
No,
And who was it?
it was Larry Lorenzo.
Oh, that was Larry
Yeah.
Lorenzo. That was his. It was his daughter's
It's
wedding.
his daughter. Yeah.
Oh, well, Pussy came and took the envelope back. I thought that was his daughter. Okay, we'll get into that later.
Okay. All right.
However, Tony walks in, mom, stellar mom performance, as she said. She dresses your man's down, whose daughter wedding it is.
Mm-hmm.
Lorenzo. She says, "Are you still seeing the other women?" Finally, like she took
Oh.
2 jabs, but then took the lowest blow. Tony had to
Oh,
get her up out of there.
man.
But the important thing that happens in this wedding is Tony and the crew learn about the indictments coming down. Everybody is worried. Junior tells them not to worry. They ask Tony what to do. Junior says, "Hey, remember, he calls a shot." Tony coincides with that. Pushed a lot into that, but I wanted to consume everything in the wedding and then the next scene that they went to. So whatever that you had from the wedding and the interactions with Tony and the guys, what did you get from that and the indictments coming down?
I got a lot from this, brother. I got a lot from this. Of course, Lorenzo, he goes by Larry, but I just feel like Lorenzo is a doper name. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like that was, to me. I mean, it's
it makes sense.
It
makes sense.
It's kind of fly, but Larry.
Well, no, I'm just saying for our culture, it makes more sense.
Yeah, Lorenzo. Yeah, it kind of fits to the black narrative. But I just thought it was funny. Like, this man was being mad smooth with Olivia. Like, darling, I'm nobody's darling. Like, oh my, like he trying to compliment you, and she is like mad haterish.
Yeah, she was on 10.
Man, but so that kind of stood out to me. I thought I wanted to ask you, who had the flyer wedding? Johnny Sack's daughter or this one?
We seen Johnny Sack's daughter wedding already?
We ain't seen it yet, but we're not spoiling anything from that. That she not nowhere in the main character. So I just want to see what you thought.
Oh, it definitely looked like Johnny Sack.
Okay. Yeah, it should be. He's from New York.
Yeah. He did.
I wanted so you talking about the same scene as far as them in the huddle? You talking about going when
huddle? Yeah, when they
okay, so we can go to the
gathering
huddle.
The troops.
Okay.
What did you think about the huddle when Junior gave the marching orders essentially?
Oh,
and they
man.
was like, yeah, it's cool, Junior. But Tony, what you think?
Well, because he's like, why are you asking him? It's like, I just made and then when Tony does it so smooth of saying like look, we should just kind of take it easy, continue to do it like Uncle said, but let's do this. He's like, I was about to say that. Like Uncle Junior, bro, his reign was like just terrible. He wasn't built for this thing, bro, like at all. It just makes me wonder. I don't know. I guess it's just I mean, I get they said we all agreed to let Junior have his day, but it's like what? I mean, he's almost like he don't even seem like he could have been a soldier. Like I don't know. He just don't give me any kind of leadership vibes. I don't know. It's just because even he doesn't command the room ever to me. Except for next time you come, better come heavy. Pause. Like outside of that, and that was only because that was in his territory in a little small cafe or whatever that was with so it wasn't even really like that. I don't know. But I thought the huddle up was dope. The way they shot it in that spin motion, like I was like, oh, this is chef kiss right here. I love that.
I think Junior's reign is more based on longevity and tradition versus like what you're saying, owning the room and being the big mafioso. I think the respect comes for Junior is that he's been around so long, that he was able to maneuver around. They know he's active. Obviously, he's active because he's a soprano. However, I think it's just that he's still able to put in, well, not even put in work, but just still able to have his rackets going, make money, have a crew. That's why people still have some sort of respect for him, the old school way or whatnot. But yeah, they're more interested in Tony. Tony out here operating like we are now. We want to take advice from Tony. We'll listen to Junior stories or whatnot, but we feel like Tony is more, he know more about what's going on. and
It's
Junior more old school. And
and it's
again, like you said,
yeah.
they put him there to take this hit. As far as when the feds came down anyway.
And you think Junior had no idea that was like at all that was a part of the risk?
Oh yeah, he know that.
Okay.
I think he was so power drunk on being the top guy, it didn't matter. And like I was speaking to with tradition, he thinks that's a part of it. Like you can tell he's operating like, well, I mean, this when you the guy they supposed to come get you,
Okay.
I can beat them or either they're gonna take me to jail.
I gotta take honor in this. Like, hey, this is a part of like this is
part of what we do.
Okay. But I like this is, and we can move on, but I like the huddle. It's this quick moment where he was like, I just gave you an answer. Why are you asking Tony? And then Tony, in the midst of the height of the anxiety these guys are having, because it's like, yo, this whole thing of ours is about to be over. The fact that Tony said Uncle Junior's right, and so he's still staying in the act in the midst of having to still delegate. That was fire to me, bro. Straight up.
Yeah, it shows Tony leadership skill 100%.
Yeah, that was fire.
Chris gave the stolen computer. They didn't even bother to wrap it, man. So Christopher Moltisanti.
Oh man, so Chris.
This is straight degenerate Chris. Like this is before he fucking made the turn to the Christopher Moltisanti. I think that you like. This episode, and we'll talk about it, but I wanted to hit on him giving that stolen gift without even wrapping it. It kind of encapsulates where Chris was. It's like fucking, I'm in my own world. I'm fucking mafioso. Like nobody can fuck with me.
Yeah,
so I think they did a great job throughout the episode with Chris's attitude towards it.
Absolutely.
From there, we see
they got out of there fast too. They just got out of there fast.
It's time to go. Probably they knew the feds were in the wedding somewhere because they knew they were in there somewhere taking pictures. They had to be because you remember all the other ones they were taking pictures in. Well, most of the other ones, but I do think that they thought that they were there. So let's get out of here.
Good. See, I'm glad I said that. I would have never caught that.
Yeah, I think that. I do think that. Next, we get the news coming down, as we said, from the wedding. We have Tony and Carmela. They starting to clean house. They're getting everything ready, anything incriminating, to send in there, they're getting it out of there. Meadow sees what's going on. She tells AJ clean his computers from all the porn after there. I'll tell you, Mo, the thing that stuck out the most to me, and I'm going to throw this oop over to you and see what you think, but it goes to, and that's why I love this episode, it kind of puts a exclamation or a period on the episode where Tony was wondering, did his family know what he did? Wondering about the exceptions, or just wondering about where he stood with them since he was mafioso. Nobody questioned why the police were coming. Not one person that really thought about what he did. Like somebody would have been like, well, why the police? At least AJ. So to your point of, does AJ know, like, why would the police be coming to my house? As a kid, 11 years old, you would ask that. 12, however old he is. So I do think that this is a very subtle showing that they've moved on from that place. Tony has progressed even more. He's more visible. The kids are starting to see more of, okay, we know what you do. What'd you take from that?
That's a great way to put it, because they do cover, like, they give you the Meadowlands. That's where, Meadow gives him that reveal. Yeah. Then you get college.
With AJ on college.
Yeah, college, you get that personal Meadow to Tony. And then last episode, Down Neck, you get the AJ with Tony, like you said. So that's a great pull right there, bro. I love this scene because I'm just a big fan of the family aspect and them working together. Like, I mean, we know things will go in different directions in the future, but in this moment, it's like, look,
we're one big happy criminal family.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying? Like, it's like, all right, this is what we doing. Like, it's like, but the funny thing is, it's like Carmela makes a statement where she says, you think they would come over the weekend like this is some kind of inspection? Like he works a regular job. What are you talking about? Man, bro, that got me like, you think they'll come on? I like that these guys are on top. I'm not waiting around, bro. We are breaking laws daily. That is our way of making money. Like,
they show how green kind of she is. And 100%.
He keeps her at a bay though. I guess that kind of makes a little bit more sense. But I thought another interesting detail is, and we'll get to Big P after this, as far as this whole sequence. she was like, "What about the numbers?" And he's like, "Anybody who is anybody is in my head."
It's in my head.
And that goes back to your Stringer Bell reference. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
is you taking notes? Like
notes doing criminal conspiracy, nigga.
how dope is Tony, man? Like this man actually remember. I can't remember numbers now. Like so, it's like even though I know it's a fictional character.
To be fair, that's more. I don't think that was your age group though, because I still like I know my 615-833-6013. I still know my home phone number, or like my grandma's phone 615-331-8970. It's like 6 or 7 numbers that I know. They probably ain't even in in operation no more.
Yeah.
But just because we grew up in an era where you had to have like either they was beeping you or you had to have that number.
You still know Mike Jones' number?
It wasn't less impressive though. I won't take anything away from it, but it is less impressive. What'd you say?
You know Mike Jones' number still?
I know 281-4. Y'all
330-8004.
Yeah.
Come on, that's still there. We still know that one though.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, but yeah, it's something like that. Like I guess the people that he's repeatedly calling the most, you're gonna have those. And especially we gotta remember this wasn't in the time of they returning calls on pagers and shit like that.
Still,
first season.
Yeah. But I think Del Meadow calling AJ like, hey, you want to clear your computer? So Tony right here. Like so Tony. She ain't really concerned so much.
Oh, you think she was purposely being loud?
Who, Meadow? You talking about Meadow?
Yeah, I think I cut off for a minute. You think Meadow was purposely being loud so Tony would hear that?
No. I thought Meadow, I'm talking about with AJ, like telling him to clean his computer. Like I think she knew it wasn't so much about the computer more so than like if there's anything, period. That's like if I don't know if she was on his computer looking up, or was it her computer? They were looking up the mafia stuff? You know what I'm saying? I don't know whose computer that was, but I think that she used that, like the pornography thing is like kind of a lightweight thing to get him to clear it up. So I thought that was slick. I thought that was very Tony Soprano-ish, like, you know, getting two birds killed with one stone. So that was another interesting thing right there.
Well, that was interesting. I thought she genuinely was scared that he had too much porn on there. And like, because you remember that used to be a thing, right? You remember like download music and videos.
Yeah, of course.
Like, FBI shit would like.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're on the VHS
like
tapes.
People, you would get notices and shit for that. So I think I see what she's saying, but yeah, it's just genuinely. I think she was concerned that he did have too much porn on.
Yeah.
Anything else from the house cleaning scene?
Do you think her ring is stolen? Because the people want to know.
100%.
Ah, man, he just had to take that risk because he didn't want to argue.
You know why she asked? Like, just take the ring off, my girl. Come on.
Like, he let her rock it out, but
you do. But that's one of the fascinating things about this show. Is people, even in real life with this lifestyle, it's like you just said. Do you think they'll come on the weekends? Like, do you not have a full understanding of what the fuck is going on here? Like, even with the ring, like, yes, the ring is stolen. Absolutely. Why would you think it wasn't? That's always fascinating to me that they think that there's measures to how low of a gangster the
okay.
Like, bro, I'm all the way in, bro.
Yeah,
like, y'all ought to know this. I'm all the way in.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's the fascinating thing about it is. But I guess they still have to look at him as a father and can't look at him as the gangster and as a husband that we see, you know.
And that's where we get down that ties back into it. It's like, as far as she knows, you know, that's why she's so bothered by anniversary, so bothered by Tony, you're going to hit somebody with polio. Like, she wants him to still be regular at the same time. So she don't know, like you said, the depths of how dirty it gets out there.
Yep, exactly. We go from that scene, we get a scene of Big Pussy burning some documents and ledgers that he has. Everybody is essentially cleaning house. We got the feel from that. And I know you're going to double back to Big Pussy, but we also get to Christopher in real time as well. And we see how fucking unserious that Christopher Moltisanti is about this.
Yeah.
He's working on his script. He's working on his script while the feds are coming down. And that probably is one of the most unforgivable Christopher Moltisanti fuck-ups that I could see. It was very, very brutal for me to watch that. But what do you think? Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. He what?
I was just gonna say, and as he's working on his scripts, he gets the phone call from Georgie. I didn't want to make it too long, but he gets the phone call from Georgie. News comes on, and you know, he gets to see that they don't mention his name, but they mention Brendan's name. So What do you think about your man's actions in these scenes, man? But I know you had something with pussy.
Okay, you kind of cleared it up for me. I was wondering, like, what is this he's burning up? Because
Ledgers.
ledgers.
Like he
Okay,
a bookie. Yeah, like because I think Big Pussy made most of his money. Probably running numbers too. But
numbers. Okay,
when you're running numbers, you have to write that stuff down, and when you're taking bets, you have to write that down.
okay. So he had to have notes. Like,
Yeah, you got to. Like, no way you're gonna be able to. That's why.
okay.
That's how they call Al Capone, little gangster.
Oh, like tax evasion, right?
Well, tax evasion because they were able to find his ledgers. That was one of the more important things, and they were able to see the amount of money that he had coming in. And of course, if you do that, there's no other way. Like, you can't keep that shit in your head. You got to write it somewhere. That's why ledgers is and shit like so important.
Was that his wife that was out there with him?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so they casted
his wife all the way in.
Well, they casted a different one then, because I didn't remember
casting.
that.
Yeah, it's another casting that's changed up in this one too. Did you catch that one? You caught it. It's way obvious. You did. When we get to it, you'll see.
Okay. All right.
You'll definitely see it.
All right. Well, yeah, but I just look. I was like, wait, who is? But Chris. Yeah, I mean, people know it's hilarious.
Defend your boy. That's your man's. Defend your man's.
Man, that's your man's too, though.
Nah, I mean, Chris, he cool.
He not top 5
character. That ain't saying that. Is that saying a lot on this show? He might be 5 or 4. He ain't top 3.
That's 5, but 5 is great. There's a lot of great characters here.
That's your man's is all I'm saying. He number 1 for you.
I don't know yet. I still ain't really decided yet. He's probably top 3 for me. He's definitely top 3. Okay. But yeah, no, he's way out of pocket. Like, he's way. I mean, he can't spell. The script is bad. But what I really
would have been annoyed by that if I was him. Bitch, read the fucking script. You know what I meant.
Well, but he kept telling her, can you read it now? He kept adding like one line. Like, he had the Tyler Perry script in '99, bro.
But you ain't gotta point out the incorrect spelling, bitch. That's what the computer for.
But you know how bothered you be if like you was supporting somebody and they kept saying, yo, check this out, and they like add a line and and it's like, okay, bro, I read this. You ain't really got nowhere, and your spelling's off. Like, you know what I mean? You'll be annoyed to the mug, like, come on, bro. But I love that she was so supportive.
I expect different from women.
Oh, okay, that's true. But I love how supportive she was. It was very attractive here. I thought that
I agree.
Everything, how she was carrying herself, very womanly, very attractive, very dope. I'm just a huge fan of Adriana. Like, I mean, like, as
Chris
most
had him a good woman, man. He broke her fucking all the way down. But yeah, that was a good woman. She was very supportive right here.
Yeah, she was.
That was attractive. That's one of her best qualities.
Yeah, the funny thing too, when he's watching TV, like, the fact that's the only thing that he gathered was that they named Brendan
Studio Gangster, man. He was Studio Gangstering it out back then.
Who?
Like, he would eventually get his chops. Studio Gangster, Chris, looking for people to say his name. Tony called him out, like, looking for people. That ain't what real gangsters do. Like, that's some rap gangster shit. You want you to know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's why I like this episode so much, because it's very subtle what they're saying about this. And of course, since we black and we get to add the black perspective, that's the closest connection that I see to it. All the fake gangster, when niggas used to go and talk about that with rap and he ain't real. This is the same thing that Chris is going. Like, you still a studio gangster. You might have you out there a little bit, but you don't really know what it take to be no gangster.
Like, why be a gangster? Why be in the
news? Yeah, you still think your name being on the news and shit like that gonna make you feel good? Like, nah, bro, that ain't what this is.
You know, Chris was
It
always
a great scene.
Great
scene. Tony
scene.
told him about this, man.
And great, this is a running thing for Chris, where he always likes the idea of things more than the actual thing.
Doing a thing, yeah.
That, like, he did things just because Tony did things. Like, he looked at Tony as the idea, and he wanted it to be the idea. Like, why be a gangster? Why be this? Or let me go purchase this big house later down the season, or you know what? Let me settle down. I need an heir. Because of Tony. So it's like he always likes the idea of things more than the actual thing in regards to the mob. I feel like.
That's a good observation.
But yeah.
All right. From there, we see Chris getting pissed off with Brendan, and that goes straight to Dr. Melfi. We get some inside time with the doctor.
Yeah.
First time I think that we meet her family. I think this is the first time we getting an in-depth meeting, because it's mom,
like, yeah, in-depth. Yeah, you're right. Like,
everybody. This scene was great. They get to talking about Tony. her patient as a mobster, Italian stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time that is brought to the audience that Tony is a sociopath and he cannot be helped. This is the first time I think in the series that he's presented with, you're wasting your time with him. You're only making him a worse criminal.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she was objective of that, as she will continue to be. And the last thing about this scene, Mo, and I will give it to you, this struck me as a conversation that Black people would have, intellectuals.
Yes.
Did it came off the same way to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, this is all of us not alike. There's different type of Black people. Why do we have to be clumped in? Why is everybody thugs?
Mm-hmm.
This is the same type of conversations that Black people have. And I really thought it was interesting how they looked at themselves versus just being white Americans.
Man, this is fire. This type of dialogue, like you hit it on the nose, Spike. Like, it's exactly what I was thinking. I said, yo, this is a Black conversation that would happen as well as, Italian family. Even when they get into it, it's like, they're not saying the patient name, but everybody's getting the pickup. But the son is really the I ain't gonna call him the MVP, but man, he's like a really interesting character. He comes off, he looks very nerdy, looks very like Walter White's son, like vibes, you know what I mean? To me initially, but he has a very interesting perspective because he brings up like how the dad was dropping bars. Like, let's be very clear. And he gonna drop some bars later when they get to the field, but like dropping crazy bars. But
give me an example. What do you mean?
All right, let me see what I got here.
Because I thought he was full of shit.
Nah, it don't make it less true though. Like, I think those are really his convictions though. I think that he don't like those things. It's like how I'd be arguing about like, these rappers, they doing it, they promoting this and that. Yeah, but I'm still gonna listen to some rapper. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he still don't make it.
I understand.
You still say they less true.
I just don't like his personality and saying, you're right, it still don't make it less true what he was.
Why don't you like it?
He's been a bit pretentious to me. These are always these are always the people that feel like you should be able to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and just putting a little bit more strife and struggle on their life of what they had to do versus the common man, and not really affording them the luxury of, I got to figure this the fuck out. Like, I think he's real just, well, it should be this way if you're Italian, and it should be this way. And it's a lot of bougie Black people that act like that. That's what he reminds me of, a bougie, like, intellectual Black person.
Don't turn your nose up at me.
Nigga, fuck you.
I knew you was gonna. But I you're right. You're absolutely right. I love the dialogue she's gonna have with him later. But what I did like, as we move on, the son flipping the whole like Godfather, Goodfellas, and Pizza, like how those are the things that they kind of utilize, just like Black people rap, sports, and slang or culture. You know what I mean? The stuff is it's just David Chase genius, like just genius right here. But the son, like he said, but he was owning those films. Like, we got, like Godfather and Goodfellas. But that's but even though this is one piece of us as Italians,
it's a part of the culture.
It's
a
part
of culture,
but it's a part of it. Like us with Boys in the Hood or Menace to Society, it's like, okay, these give this certain representation, but it's us. It's a part of us. It ain't all of us, but it's a part of us.
This goes to the conversation that we have a lot on Another Week in the Books when we're talking about the representation of the normal Black man. He ain't got to be the super thug or this gay or just far out character. Just the normal Black dude. Works hard, take care of his family, like someone that you are looking to kind of relate to. I think this conversation kind of goes to what the dad was saying, to your credit, as far as him not being wrong. Like the Godfather 100% is a part of the culture, just like rap and gangster music is 100% a part of our culture, but it's less than 5% of it. There's a lot more Black people that do a lot of different things, and I do agree with him on that. Like you said, and the son made the great point in saying that, like, the Godfather may not be the representation that you want, but it's still a representation of us. So that was good, man. That was a great scene.
Boy, and as we move on, anybody, if you're Italian American, can you guys like break down for me the Guinea thing? Because they were talking about kind of like it being offensive. I just want to see if it was on the same lines of I mean, probably ain't on the same lines as nigga, but is it on par as far as like, yo, that's a like slur, like, you know, I'm not gonna go down to other slurs for other ethnicities, but like if y'all know, y'all could explain like kind of the backstory of that or whatnot, man, hit us up on a good earners underscore Soprano. I mean, good earner pod underscore Sopranos. DM us straight up.
Let's do it. Back to your man, Christopher Quentin Tarantino, writing his script again.
Tennessee Williams.
Through the midst of madness, he's locked in on his script and got 20 pages. Mm-hmm. He gets a call from Tony. He tells Tony that he's busy. Tony doesn't even acknowledge it.
Nah.
Get your ass down here now. Nah. I love this. I love this.
Yes.
And but it wasn't too much other to take. Did you have anything else from that?
Just you talking about just from the call or him getting down to the shop?
Yeah, just the call.
Just the call.
I'm gonna get to we're gonna get into the next.
Well, basically, Tony just treated him like an errand boy,
which he was still. I think that's what we're supposed to understand too.
Okay,
you are still an errand boy. That's why they're not saying your name on the news, fool. You ain't done shit. This is normal, everyday crime shit that you doing. You ain't done no made man boss shit.
Nickel and diamond, basically.
Yeah, like you
a
still
corner boy,
corners, nigga. Yeah.
Because he's taking initiative, but he's not actually being asked to do those things. When he
like a lieutenant, like he moving up.
Yeah, like he took the little watches from FedEx, but we didn't ask you to do that. You bodied the Czechoslovakian. We didn't ask you to do that though. You know these things.
What are the real plugs that you got? Okay. What are the real rackets that you running to keep bring money in? That's why he ain't to that stature yet. You just like a crook, a criminal now.
Just a crook.
You're a gangster, nigga. Yeah, you're a crook. Crooks and it ain't the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. So we go from that to one of my favorite fucking scenes of this episode of this series.
Mm-hmm.
Chris walks into the bakery shop to get the pastries that Tony asked for. Cashier tells him take a number. He takes a number. He waits his turn. You know who this cashier is, right? Stifler from American Pie.
I ain't know American Pie.
Oh, you never seen American Pie?
I seen one of them, like Lapoon or something. I don't know. I don't even remember it though.
Like that was big shit when I was a pup. That was one of the bigger white movies. Yes, I forget. Yeah, you wouldn't have seen it. You like it though. It's a funny ass film. But that was Stifler from there, and this is a long time.
Hey man,
Stifler's mom, the whole
all
thing.
Of the little people that's popping up in the Soprano universe. Dope.
Absolutely. But finally gets to Chris, and we get another customer that walks in, a familiar face. That's what I was talking about with the cash change. Did you peep that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, this definitely wasn't Vito. This was Gino in this sense, and Gino seemed to be like a hard-working little fat construction guy because he was having to get back to work.
Yes.
Or do you think this was two things too? Or do you think that this was pre-Vito? Vito kind of heard about this happening with Chris. He's like, well, you know what? I can make some. Like Vito wasn't never a gangster. His calling was he made money. He made plenty of money, which is why it was hard for Tony to get rid of him. As we spoiler alert, Jesus. With that being said, do you think maybe that this was just like he grew into Vito, or you just think this was just?
I would like to like really build a alternate universe. I know me living in theory land. I would like to build like that, like type of theory. Somebody who had like funny theory was like, no, this is his like straight twin brother. You know, like bro, I heard some of the funniest, like, you know, but I would like to think that, but I don't think so. I think it was a classic Adriana, you know, situation where she was like, you know, so
I'm going with this is pre-Vito. This is working man, then Vito got into the life.
Okay.
That's why he got turned out.
I like it.
But in this scene, the guy tries to service Gino first, and Chris loses it. And in the midst of Chris losing it, he tells Gino to get out, come back in 10 minutes. He pulls a strap out on the guy, Stifler, behind the counter.
Stifler.
And I thought it was great that they didn't just have Chris just shoot him. I thought it was, and part of the reasons why I like this episode is like, Christopher is really trying to understand like how people are perceiving him.
Yes.
And I thought it was dope because I struggle with this. We talked about this on Another Week in the Books. I thought it was dope that he was like, bro, I'm not going to hurt you, but I want to fucking know, why do you think you can get over on me, bro? That's a question that I have a lot of, like when you have like situations like that and you will look somebody, you be like, well, why the fuck did they think they could do that to me? And I like that Chris got his strap out and was like, you're gonna fucking tell me. in the
Mhm.
midst of this. I
Mhm.
just thought this was fucking great.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
See, I didn't pick up like this kind of the story of what was going on, like from detail to detail, but it all makes sense from the moment he's tapped into the news to everything that
Mhm.
transpires from that point. It makes perfect sense. Uh, yeah, I really like that. I made a meme this week at popping fresh. I'm in no fucking mood this week. I mean today, and so I even made like a little funny meme. Y'all can go check that out. But like I just thought it was funny. Like you said, he was just like, "What do I look like? You know what I mean? What do I look like to you? Like you?" And then of course we get the nod to Goodfellas, the shot in the
I'm funny. I'm
huh?
a clown to you.
Yeah,
Joe
like
Pesci said that,
oh
bro. I'm a
man,
clown.
bro.
I'm funny
What
like
what's
he
funny?
like
Funny like how?
funny like how?
Like what's funny? Oh man,
Yeah.
and menacing. But he was Spider. Everybody knows he was Spider in Goodfellas, and they shot his foot in Goodfellas. So this is a reference of him shooting Stifler's foot in this right here. That's a nod right there. But I respect Chris actually was patient and waited. But I feel like this is where the step begins. We're gonna again get back in that space of I'm taking powers back into my own hands, bro. I forget that.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Chris ends up shooting the guy in the foot, like you
Yeah,
said, as rightfully so too. The guy was being a dickhead. I
he
feel
was
like he got
way
everything
out of
that was
pocket. He didn't know who he was
he
dealing with,
got
bro.
everything. Yeah, he got everything that was coming to him.
Yeah.
Little bitch ass. He said, "So I can go out and fuck your sister and come back and
Oh
get my
yeah, I
tone
forgot about
notes?"
that live, bro. And come back and be alive, bro.
Oh, that was good,
Chris
man.
be having the
Chris is
best lines,
killing
bro.
it. He do, man. He do have the best fucking lines.
Him,
Even with the
Junior, and
computer.
Tony.
With the computer, he was like the model's really good, man. I looked up the reviews online myself. Nigga, shut up.
He
That was
wild.
hilarious, bro.
Yeah,
I
he's
loved it.
yeah.
We go to the nursing home. Carm goes in to visit Mama Soprano, and she's surprising her with
Wait,
brunch.
hold on. Did
What's
we?
that?
No, well, I guess it ain't that much. But when he went to the bada
Oh,
bing,
okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, you did. We did script a couple. Okay. Well,
it wasn't that
all right. The
much there.
guys
But
at the club, they're talking about the indictments coming down. Chris was frustrated. Tony consoles him. And Tony goes and Chris goes and talks to George about, how they're feeling about each other. And
yeah.
George, too, to add insult to injury, also looks at Chris and he says he's worried about the guys. And Chris was like, "What guys?" Like, the guys. He's like, "Well, what the fuck about me?"
Yeah.
And that goes to show, like, George didn't even look at him as like, "You
Yeah.
still ain't here yet, bro. You ain't really made it, bro."
Yeah.
And the only reason that Brendan was like mentioned or considered that way is because he got killed, which Chris wasn't considering. It's because he's dead that they were talking about him that way. Had he been alive, he'd be the same thing as Chris, even less. So, what'd you take from that?
I'm sorry. You talk about Big Nothing Burger. I think the Brendan is such a reach. I'm sorry. Like that.
What do you mean?
From the moment it came up on the news, and even associate Brendan, I didn't catch his last name, but I just thought that part of it was a reach. It fits the narrative of what's going on, but I don't know if I just don't believe that he would even be acknowledged on the news. I just feel like it's such a reach to me. Like when this part of the story to me felt like very reachy because it's convenient, kind of like,
I can make it make sense for you.
Make it make sense now.
They mentioned on the news the power struggle that this may have been, and if you will think back, Tony told Junior not to do anything.
Okay.
Right? But Junior still took it upon himself because he taught Olivia to go kill Brendan. So Junior had this conversation about Brendan being killed with the other people, excluding Tony. So whoever the snitch is, because we know that there's a snitch.
Yeah.
They went and told the FBI and the people that were investigating them that, hey, this is what happened. This kid Brendan got killed by Junior, even though Tony told him not to, and it's a power struggle for the top.
Okay.
So that's how it was like they weren't. I don't think the police were investigating it and just found this out. You're right, and tied it to Tony. That would have been bullshit.
Okay.
But if you follow the breadcrumb trail that Chase is leaving, it adds up because there is a snitch. We know that.
Yeah.
The snitch knew about the rift between Junior and Tony. That would have gave him information to the Brendan hit, and he probably is just telling his caseworker, "Hey, this kid Brendan, he got killed because Junior and Tony are beefing for the top."
And that guy was why really good.
Which is why they mentioned the power vacuum.
Oh, that makes sense. And then I do got to remember also, like, they didn't bury his body. He was left in the tub. So it's very loud when they found him. So if they buried,
Brendan probably has a rap sheet. They probably started looking into him, seeing who he hang with and that stuff after they got the information from the snitch. So that was ties it together. And that probably was what made the indictment come down. They finally had a murder and enough stuff to pin and make it make sense for a judge to sign off on it.
Okay. Yeah, they got that. Chris got he's like really low rank here. Like, I mean, he's in the bathroom checking for wires. Georgie's all over under the toilets. Even then he does that classic thing where he's like, I'm the one brought him along. I brought him around here. Like, now you would have kind of take credit for him. Like, he's bigger than you. Like, you know, that's that secondhand glorification type, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, he's low to the totem pole right now.
All right. From there, Tony goes to visit the nursing home for Mama Soprano. We're there now, right?
Yeah.
Carm comes in, tells her, hey, man, I want to take you out to brunch. Mama Soprano just cannot believe that. What's going on? Is it something with AJ? Is it this? Is it that? Then she finally hits her with the low blow. The lowest blow that she could go is Tony seeing another woman. She know that's the lowest blow because, and here's the thing, she probably, because of Tony's dad, used to get that same one, and she remembers how that one made her feel. She remembers the people saying that to her, and that one being the one that hurt the most. So I can use this one. We've seen her use it twice now on your man Lorenzo and now on Carm. But Carm perseveres through. She's the great saleswoman. She finally convinces Livia to join her for brunch, and she was right. There was something amiss. Tony was going to plant all of his evidence in her room. What'd you get from this?
Do you think Carmela's a good liar?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She's really good.
Yeah, because she got it off. Like her,
she always gets it off.
She always does get it off because her pacing of like telling this lie of because what gets me is Livia comes with three, like you said, 3 hits. Is it Meadow? She eats like a bird. Is it the indictments? Did he cheat on you again? Like, golly.
Like, bitch, shut up and come eat this food.
Man. But I just wanted to see if you thought she was like a pretty good liar, because I mean maybe we'll have a ranking.
I think she's a great liar. Yeah, I think she's a great liar.
You know, I heard a phrase, bro. Just a sidebar. I heard a phrase: the greatest lies that are told is the ones we tell ourselves. Yeah. Boy, that was a bar. I heard that. I was like, yo, I had to put in my notes.
It is true.
But I did want to ask, do you think he's taking a big risk putting guns in these flimsy boxes, bro? Like these boxes is mad flimsy.
See, that's the thing too. His mama OG. Now, she might not have been cool with him putting that shit in there.
Yeah.
But once she had maybe stumbled upon it, she ain't going to bat an eye or flinch at all. She know what the fuck going on. And that's the thing about Carmela. She's great at, and the frustrating thing about Carmela is she's great at her role until she isn't. Like, even with the line, and like you said, she's great at all that shit until she just isn't. And it's at the most frustrating, opportune moments that she just isn't, when she ain't fucking with it. But yeah, I think she knows exactly what she does.
Okay. Love the scene though. The music, the intensity, this is where Sopranos is finest. The pacing, they're getting to it. They ain't waste no time, bro.
Facts, 100%. I agree with you there. All right, from there we goes to Tony tells Melfi he might be going on a vacation. This is the first session of the show to this episode, excuse me. And she asked about the indictments on the news. Did that have anything to do with Tony? Tony kept it real with her. She kind of looked at him like she was disappointed, and he kind of felt or looked ashamed. This was the only, and you can kind of see this come out in Tony. This is status quo in their world. Didn't mind telling his wife, his kids, but when I'm talking to Dr. Melfi and she kind of maybe looks at me as something differently from what everybody else does, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that this is happening to me. Like, there was a little bit of shame with that. Did you pick up on it?
Man, good pickup. I didn't quite pick that. I mean, maybe a slight bit, but now that you say that, it makes sense, because we get that later reference of he's like, there's a whole nother Tony that you don't know about. You know what I mean? And so there's that. And then also with her, you know, he talks about, you know, in a previous episode I spoke where he's like, why did you choose me as a patient? Most civilians, most people I come across wouldn't even take an eye at me. So I feel like this is a part of him keeping a level of normalcy. She is an open portal for him to feel a level of normalcy, to not just be wrapped up in just the mob world, but again, the concept I always speak about, wanting something else. She's like the portal, the door to that. So yeah, I can see where you're going with that. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Definitely does. All right. So from there, did you have anything about their interaction?
No.
Melfi and Tony?
I just like it. He just putting it on game. Like, look, this is what's up. Like, regardless, like this is what's happening.
You think she was playing a little green there?
She
was she looking for? Was she trying to embarrass him?
I think what it is you got what your ex-husband has said in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
You got what he said, and you now you're kind of wanting to prove him wrong on top of, of course, being a great therapist. So now you're thinking, like, is he really, do I really need to send him to another doctor? Do I really need to, can he change? So you're kind of going in there with this, like, I feel like this, like, judgmental viewpointers, so I think just what her husband had kind of put in the back of her head is what's brewing at this moment.
All right. From there, we go to another fucking great scene in this episode, man. Chris is working on his script again.
Yeah.
His house is a mess. Pigsty, as Paulie calls it. Who comes to visit him at the door. He opens the door for Paulie, and they're supposed to be going out on the town. Adriana's away, but Chris has made a mess of the place. Beer everywhere. It was this scene right here was dope to watch in the sense of, you think that this lifestyle is glitz and glamour, or you think that these guys just do what they want to do and they don't have to deal with the repercussions of their actions. This is a great scene. This is great dialogue about him having to deal with the actions, asking about the character arc. What's my arc? Genuinely, like, yearning for Paulie to kind of give him directions as his OG.
Yeah.
And Paulie ain't even got that in him.
Yeah.
Paulie was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm here. Went to jail, went to the service. I live every day. I'm half a wise guy. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
This was a great scene in the sense of Christopher got to see everything that he didn't want to be in Paulie. You know what I'm saying? So this was great, man.
Wow. Hold on. I gotta let that resonate for a second. That was because I can kind of see the seed being sown of, like, the disdain that will later be in the relationship.
Because he poured his heart out to Paulie there.
Yeah.
And Paulie,
man,
like,
I've been
Paulie
there.
just didn't get it.
I've been there.
I was like, bruh, like, fuck bitches, get money, nigga. Like, if this was a black movie and scene, that would have been the response. Man, nigga, fuck all that, man. Let's go fuck these bitches. That's a fact. Make some bread, man.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Fuck all that shit, man. You ain't talking about nothing.
Yeah.
So that would have been the equivalent of that.
Cause he like, I got 19 pages. He's like, is that a lot? Is that a little? Like,
is that a little, nigga? I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
We try, like, I got 2 girls outside, but I do like that he knew something was bothering him.
Yeah, I did like that.
He didn't ignore it. He knows what this lifestyle comes with, and the little bit that he did have, though, he tried to offer that to Chris. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah. And I like that. And you got to remember, Chris doesn't have a father figure. You know what I mean? Like, his father, died when he was younger. We'll get that reveal later if they haven't given it to us already. But I like because he comes in, he's like, kid, this ain't like you. What's going on with you, kid? Like, I like that he's trying, and I think that we'll get a scene later about the waiter and a season later about how they felt about each other at that moment. Kind of put it back into, focus. But I do think that he meant something to Paulie too, because he served as a missing space for Paulie, I felt like, as well. I don't think Paulie had kids. Were we led to believe that he did? Or
he did. Paulie Jr.
I didn't think that was his actual kid. I just thought they called him Little Paulie. Like, I didn't.
Nah, that's his son.
That's his actual son.
I thought so. You telling me this is the first time I've never considered it being his son. I always thought that Paulie Jr. was his son.
Well, they always just called him Little Paulie. So I'm like, a lot of people in this world for some reason have the name Paulie. Johnny.
Maybe.
So
right.
I don't know.
I just always thought that was his son.
All right, y'all in the comments, or y'all that are listening.
Of course, this character hasn't been introduced yet, so
yeah, we're in a future universe here.
Yeah, if you're one of the rare diamonds in the rough where it's your first time watching this, please excuse us.
But he does ask one of the most popular questions. Actually, Chris has a lot of his signature phrases that we notice here. One of them right here is, "You ever feel like nothing good was ever going to happen to you?"
Damn, boy, that was a bar right there.
Man, what did you feel when he said that before Paulie responded? Like, you ever
I
felt
could
that?
relate. I
Okay,
felt the hell yeah. I could relate to
man.
places in my life being there and kind of just asking that with my
Hmm.
arc. Where's my arc at? Like,
Hmm.
where's my the top of my story? So
Yeah,
absolutely. That's why the scene was so good. And he played it so well,
played
like
it
the
so well.
like fidgeting and just
Yeah.
bouncing around. It was fucking great, man.
Uh, Real quick before we move forward, did Christopher have an arc?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
all right. Because based on what he said and the examples he gave about this story of some gentleman lost his wife, and from that point on, he had to figure things out. That was his arc. I'm like, okay, so Christopher has an arc there. You know, some people say he
Yeah.
never did, but I still like Paulie's advice from where he was coming from. He was like, he just was like, yeah, and nothing did. So what? Like his perspective wasn't even like,
It's good, man. You
it
got to
is
be that
good.
old to be able to think like that,
You
bro.
really do, because
That old simple wisdom, man. That's
yeah,
that grandmama wisdom.
go a long way. So he's like, man, let's
Yeah.
get our joints cocked. Like, so yeah, it
Come
was
back
beautiful.
tomorrow and figure this shit out. You have plenty of pages. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that's
That
good
was
stuff, man. Good stuff. Shout out to Paulie, man.
absolutely.
I'm
All right.
alive.
From
I'm
there,
surviving. Like,
yep. From there, Chris talking to Pussy about his art, about the hit that they did together.
mm-hmm.
I like what Pussy told him is that all of this stuff is normal. Like all of this shit is happening to you. Like, yeah, this happens in our line of work.
Yeah.
He asked a funny question about the body. He's like, if you killed him, why in the fuck would he be trying to give you advice on how to get away? That was great. That was
Yeah.
great right there. I really
Yeah.
like that. But what did you take anything from this?
I mean, of course, the Noah arc is a funny line. Like, come on, like, you
Yeah,
know
that
who
was
else had
great
arc?
too.
Noah.
Noah, you
Like,
know, as an art, Noah.
that, yeah, he
Great.
just, but you know, I'm a fan of Big P. I mean, we know what it is, but I'm a fan of Big P. I feel like, I'm gonna go out here on a limb. I feel like he could have been, if things didn't transpire when we find out later how they did. I think he could have been a better number 2, stepping into number 1 later down the road versus Seal.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I just
That
want to see
probably
if
would have been the setup. That probably would have been the setup had
if
anything
things,
worked
yeah,
out
things were
correctly.
different. Okay, I just,
That pussy was his man's. Like even
he really
overseas, like
was.
that was his man's.
Yeah. All right.
All righty. From there we go to Chris and Georgie. Georgie gets the front end. Oh my God, JB dog and George, man.
Yeah.
But George is out there with pussy and they're digging up the body, trying to find the loose ends.
Mm-hmm.
Georgie pukes. They find the body. Chris says, "Let's dig him up and take him somewhere else." Anything from this?
Yeah, this is really disgusting. Like, you know, they ain't really big on the gore like that, but this is like, it just felt really disgusting. Like the beard, the nails, it's like, oh man, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, not really much. I do think that Georgie, I was thinking like, well, he probably makes really good money. He works at the Bada Bing. He does little odd jobs like this. But if he's digging up a body like this, isn't he really putting himself in a real possibility for Fed time?
Yes. That's
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Gotcha.
Not even do you take the risk of that, but you got to transport it now. Like, imagine if something happened, you get pulled over, you catch a flat, like nigga, anything.
Wow.
You got a fucking body in the trunk. Like, stop it. We already got it out here. He buried. You done with it, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was like Tony said, asking to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
Next we go to Dr. Melfi and her ex talking about a property that they have, selling it.
Mm-hmm.
Just the different viewpoints that Italian Americans have. Another highbrow conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. I saw the differences in them as to why it didn't work. She pointed it out. Did you like this scene? We getting to see a whole nother side of Dr. Melfi.
I love Melfi. I just love her, man. Like, her character, I don't know. I don't know, Tom.
I like how it shows her battling with these two worlds. Because she's trying to stay indifferent and be the best therapist that she can be for Tony, not be judgmental of his lifestyle. But she's a lot harsher with him than she is with her husband when he speaks against that lifestyle. As to the sense of she's pressing Tony to what he does is wrong. She listens to him and kind of questions his morality. with her husband, she's kind of taking this sign of, oh, you just don't know these people. Like she's not giving as much leeway with her husband as she does with Tony. With Tony, she's really trying to understand. With her ex-husband, she's on some shit like, you don't know what you're talking about. When he's making plenty of sense, like you said.
He is. So. I think she looks at his experience coming up because remember a few episodes back, she's like, when Randall, her date at the time, like he got beat up really bad, and she was like, wow, like I guess I just hadn't been exposed to like basically the streets, the dangers of the world for real. Like I just never grew up with that
green mentality about the streets.
So imagine her husband probably has the same experience. Ex-husband has the same experience. So it's like when she, I feel like she gives more grace to Tony because when she started hearing his experience, like last week, just like he beat you, like you watched him beat a man up, like whoa, like so you got more grace of understanding. Like okay, this makes more sense to why you are like you are versus her ex. Like what's your problem? Like, why are you so anti this and that? You ain't have to go through half the things I deal with when it comes to my patient.
Facts.
But I did want to ask on a quick bar, and y'all chime in, those who are Italian that are listening to this, but she says he likes Irish girls. Every Italian boy bows down to the freckles. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is an equivalent to black men with white women?
Oh, that's funny.
Because I'm like, is this a thing? Like, it sounded like it was a thing. Like, I mean, it's an intentional writing line.
I don't think that Italians regard Irish as in the way that
like a crossing over for real
stereotype that men who date white women are like that's a trophy.
Okay,
like you know what I mean? Like I don't think that Italians
okay,
look at Irish people the same way that we look at white people.
Okay. So it's like a deeper thing
from a societal view. Yeah, I just think something. So I'm not sure. I would love for some Italian Americans to give us some deal, but yeah, I wouldn't think that.
Okay,
I wouldn't. All right, next man, another great fucking scene. Tony leaning against the fence, clearly frustrated at Christopher for being late to pick him up, and he gets in. I wonder was that because I seen a scene, the chick that plays Tasha on Power.
Okay.
She was on the Breakfast Club, and there was a scene that they were talking about where her and Ghost were in an argument, and he stuck his finger out and he mugged her.
Yeah,
and she and she said that was not in the script. She said that she had to just act through it. She was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
That made me think looking at this when Tony got in, like, I don't know if Chris was really expecting the mush to the head. I don't know if that was in the script, man. He kind of looked at him like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
But James Gandolfini, that's him. That's the intensity that he brought to the role, why he was so good at it. Yeah. But I'm wondering, man, like, was that scripted? Like, did they really want to do that?
Yeah. I wonder too, in Best Man, when Nia Long slapped Taye Diggs, like when he reacted, that was a real reaction because that wasn't in the script either. When she's on the very original 99, she slapped him. And he was like, "Whoa!" He's like, "Whoa!" Like because that wasn't in the. So yeah, those improv is necessary at times. But yeah, this was like a crazy mush though. They talk about how big, rest in peace, James Gandolfini's hands are. So I like, man, bro, that mush was crazy, dog.
Bug the shit out of Tony.
We get to fighting in high school doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But this was great, Tony, though. This was like, this is the fucking motherfucker that you signed up for.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. Listen to this. You gonna get right. I loved it. Mm-hmm. And I also loved at the end where he could kind of relate to what Chris was going through.
Yes.
And I also loved how Chris was like me, a mental midget. Nah, like this man wouldn't even consider depression, but jumped all the way out to cancer. It just goes to show the mental health and how it was looked at before people started addressing it. But you were looked at such a weak link if you were depressed or you're anxious. Like anxiety, the words that we hear now in their world back then, man, that shit didn't even exist. So I think that was great. But Tony felt them though, but he wouldn't even admit to it.
Mm-hmm. Man, so much here. Like when I was going through like a moment of rather it was depression or distressed that we spoke about on Another Week in the Books, this line always stood out to me. It's like the regularness of life is just too much.
Too much for me, man.
I don't know. Because while the regularness of life is just going to work, paying your bills, tending to your relationships, sometimes, as simple as that sounds, it's just not that easy. And
I
when
think,
he said that,
yeah, we've all been there as men if we willing to admit it. That's why this was
yeah,
so. I think that's why I like this episode so much
yeah,
because we've been in these places that Chris are at, but we just never know how to address it. And
facts.
David Chase did a fucking wonderful job of him, like just somebody fucking help me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and so, but I mean, they were, and Tony is weird because he gets in the therapy bag a little bit. Like he's really pulling the Melfi
trying to help him.
swagger. Like, so he's like, okay, how long have you been feeling this? Are you sleeping? Like he's going,
Serotonin levels maybe.
yeah, serotonin. Like he's going through it, and then he says, have you ever thought about him? And he gets the gun to the mouth gesture, like suicide or whatever. And he's just like, nah, I'm no mental midget. Like, so it's interesting enough. It almost made me say, has Tony considered that?
Definitely.
Honestly. Because it's like, where is that
relate.
coming from?
Mm-hmm. I think that he was trying to relate.
Okay, maybe
trying.
Okay,
yep.
Because that was a very I feel like that. We're not familiar with the mob based on like the just the entertainment value of it. It's like I feel like that was way out of the realm of even asking. Even when you're getting somewhat sensitive and y'all don't do that, asking like, have you ever thought to? It's like, man, where'd that come from? You know what I'm saying? Like that really stood out to me after the regularness line or whatnot.
Yes, 100%. I agree with you there. All right, from there we go to Tony pulling up at home. Well, excuse me, Tony's already at home.
Mm-hmm.
We're in their house. AJ's playing the video game. The doorbell rings. Tony is annoyed that AJ didn't even move. White privilege at its finest. Right there. Like, what do you mean the doorbell, nigga? This not like what? Like, I'm playing. He said I have a video game to finish.
Man, bro.
It was fucking great. But it was the FBI at the door.
Mm-hmm.
They showed this. Now, this would never happen in black households.
This
you want to talk about
fact, bruh.
You want to talk about like the differences? They're not. The FBI are not knocking on your door, asking you to tell your kids, maybe you could do this, do that, and the third. Try to give you the benefit of the doubt. Nah, boss, this don't happen in the hood. But they did give Tony Soprano the benefit of the doubt, knocked on his door, and kind of told him what was up. I like the guy. This is the first time I think we've met this head FBI guy. And he, as we'll see, he doesn't really have it out for Tony as you would think. But what did you take from this whole scene?
It's a lot of different things. Like you said, they gave him a lot of grace. They went to the back just because they didn't want to make a scene, bro. I honestly, this might be this is a real big hot take, but the FBI, did I get his name in my notes? No, I got the other guy, Grosso, but I didn't get his, but I'll get it later down the road. But I think he is a Tony Soprano of the FBI. I feel like we'll see a little more later on. I feel like if that was on the legit side of the law, the way because it's like the matchup and meetups that they were having later down the road, to me, started to really, because I know they talk about later on, and I'm not really spoiling anything that's major, but like the later on scene of like Whitecaps and just the purchase of the home, and they talk about the guy that sold the home, how he was like almost like another version of a Tony on the legit side. That gentleman where they were going back and forth, like that's a thing I've heard.
The boat dude.
Yeah, when he was going back and forth with this dude, like, hey, I need my money back, and they would So I think I look at this officer kind of as like a version of that. It was just weird how he had such a sentimental thing. Do you think this was an Italian connection? Like, this is my people, like chill out, or? I mean, because it just seems like he had such a, I don't know. I mean, a gracefulness with Tony. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand really.
This the lead dude.
Yeah,
is that who you talking? Oh, he's a fan. I just think he's a fan. Like he's a mafioso fan. He knows what Tony. Like, I think that you have these people like this out here in the field, and not to spoil, but like you said, as we see the relationship play out, he's rooting for Tony.
Yeah.
Like, I hope you get out of this thing. Like, you'll see that later when he's like, yeah, our side, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll see that
for
in
sure,
some sense. Sure. But I just think more than anything, he's one of those dudes he's just like, I'm a fan of Tony Soprano. Kind of similar to McNulty's obsession for Stringer Bell. But it was just on the good side here. It wasn't a white, black, he shouldn't be doing this thing. It was man, I wish I could fucking do that, man. I wish I was goddamn Tony Soprano, man, having the bitches and because he knew everything about him. I think he was a fan. I think I was a big fan of Tony Soprano.
Okay, maybe it's a big mystery for me then. Wow. Okay.
Uh, but yeah, I like his character and his role and how he played that. I do think he was annoyed with the Italian guy to answer that question from you. It's just like when we see a black police doing too much. Same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You see a blue, like, bro, come on, man, this nigga. Oh,
is that
like,
necessary
super
for
cop
real?
over here. Yeah, like when you see a black cop doing
super
too much,
nigga.
same thing that Tony was feeling right then. Cause like, what you doing in my refrigerator, bro? Dropping shit and stuff. First of all, like, let's start there.
Yeah. let's
start
there,
nigga. So I could get what Tony was like super annoyed. Then he hit him with the Italian "fuck you" or whatnot. So yeah, I get that. I felt that way about black cops, bad ones before, not all of them.
Yeah,
some black cops.
It's just like, bro, why you? Because it like y'all put the extra. You're putting the extra mad on me because man, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so
that's funny.
That's how I took that 100%.
Oh, this next.
All right, another great family dinner conversation. This is the highbrow version of it with Dr. Melfi and the intellectuals, them people having that conversation. And now we have the lowbrow version, the street version of the conversation.
The hood.
This is the hood version per se in their society.
Yeah.
You have Tony kind of giving AJ history about the different Italians, what they've done, just generally helping him with his heritage.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout that, Carmela adds some stuff in, but Meadow has the best one.
Oh, yes.
And this is just like, I think what you were saying with the dad on Dr. Melfi's side. She's trying to be an asshole here, but she's not wrong. When she told Tony, like, yeah, this is still a part of our culture.
Yes.
Like, I mean, what do you think about the mafia since you love history so much? I just thought that was fucking great, man. I thought that was great.
But you know who had the bar, though?
Give it to me.
AJ coming right behind her. Oh my gosh, bro. So Meadow is feeling great. She's like, so she's feeling great. She got the she got the neck rolling. She got the shoulders ready. I like, what about the five families? Lucchese, Gambino, Bonanno, Profaci. Like, she's getting all into it. Like, oh, like, and like he's looking like, I would be so mad right now. I'm like, what is your deal? But AJ,
what did he say?
Hold on. So I try not to use profanity if y'all haven't noticed already. Like, he said, can you shut the up about it?
Oh, yeah. She said, I just like history. And he was like, can you just shut the fuck up about it?
Bro. I was like, that. I don't know if he was protecting Tony or he just wanted to ask where he just like, I don't care. Shut up.
I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was a little bit of like raise up off that easy on dad.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck.
What? Okay.
I don't give a fuck about this or Alexander Graham Bell or what they talking about either. I think it's just AJ's personality though. But yeah, I think it was a little bit of sticking your neck out there for dad.
What?
Because he said, like, is it something you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, and that's why the third build up when we get to this, because this is the second. I feel like the first was college. There's this one. Then that third build up. It's like you got something you want to say to me. You get that like awkward cry from her later. Like, I feel like that's the build up because he's like, I'm sick of this. Like, you ain't gonna keep. So let me ask, what is Meadow's objective? Like, are we rocking or not?
I think
like,
it's just 16. I think it's just like teenage girl sassiness. I think.
Oh, okay. Just because.
In my opinion, yeah, I think that's what we're supposed to get from that. Just
okay,
like
some general sass.
So just like you get that with a lot of TV shows, right? Like you said, when Walt Jr. went through this phase, he was just sassy, had all some shit to say. I just think it's just the teenage face that they portray on TV. They needed Meadow to do that.
Okay.
From there, Tony goes to see Melfi. He's up. Oh man. She tells Tony in this session that if he does miss, then she will still have to charge him for it because he did miss a session.
Yeah.
Tony missed a session when the FBI was raiding his house. They showed a little clip of Melfi going out to look and he wasn't there because the FBI had raided him that day. So we're to understand, I wanted to be clear with this. We are to understand that he missed the session because of that raid. He told her about that. And at the end of the session, after him telling her about that, she's like, okay, cool. You still got to pay me for that. Which sent Tony into a fucking tantrum. Before I get to your thoughts on it, Mo,
Yeah,
did Tony Soprano invent making it rain?
bro. Y'all be on the lookout. I just made a meme for this, bro. Literally. Because when he did that, I said, "Oh, this is perfect. I got to do something with this."
Yeah, he invented making it rain.
I think he did, bro. I mean, is this before Meeks now? Were they like 2000s?
This is about a little bit before.
So yeah, Tony invented making it rain.
It was definitely filmed before Meeks them run.
Well then there you go. It's the Sopranos, man. They the first that ever done it, dog. Straight up.
Tony Soprano, the
That's
first
funny.
nigga to make it rain.
Yeah, the first nigga.
That's funny as hell. Did you get anything else from it?
Was she right though?
What do you think about her response? Hell yeah, that's real life. D said that. You remember we were talking to D on Another Week in the Books? He said that.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah. Like, do you want to charge them? Because there is, like, before you start therapy, they tell you, like, you don't come. Like, we got a schedule because I could have had somebody else. Somebody else could have been right here.
Yeah.
Like, I get it once if something come up or something, but I still got, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why therapy is expensive.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when people who don't have discretional money, this is gonna sound like a serious, but they're not gonna always be able to keep that schedule. So it's gonna be a lot of cancellations and a lot of this. So in order to avoid that, and in order to make sure you can keep your schedule full, they do charge you if you don't come.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Cancel on the ass. Yeah.
I thought it was legit.
What were you about to say?
I thought it was legit. I was just saying,
super legit.
I mean,
he's just not familiar with that world.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because I was gonna say, do you think her approach was still right, or like I don't know?
Well, no, approach wasn't right. I don't think she could have said that at another time, and she could have just charged him, and he probably wouldn't have said nothing about it. Then if she had explained it, like I just told you, well, somebody else could have had the spot. I don't think he would have had an issue with it. But again, that's the reason that I reiterated that we are to understand as the audience that they had that conversation, that he missed the session because the feds were raiding his house, and that he told her that.
Vacation.
Yeah. Well, that ain't wasn't a vacation yet, but she understands. That's why he was like, you understand everything that's going on around me. Like, he's letting her know what's going on, and you still like, well, okay, you gotta pay me though.
Yeah, I still gotta pay though.
Yeah.
And she say it's gonna be your next.
Did you think? Did you think Tony overreacted?
Yeah, he overreacted. Because you still
understand that with everything that's going on right now, right?
Yeah, well, Tony doesn't. Again, she already know, like, he doesn't have a full grasp for his feelings yet. He doesn't really. He's still like he's over the fact that you don't love him, as he spoke about. But I'm like looking for a little bit of compassion. I know you're not, I know you already said I'm a generic broad and all that, but it's like, yo, I got, we ain't never had no problems before. You know what I mean? You canceled on me when I was out at college, you know what I mean? Because you was sick or whatever. So, but yeah, he overreacted.
Okay. Makes sense. All righty. About to wrap this thing up. A couple more scenes to go. The most pivotal scene of the episode plays out here at the nursing home.
The stand-up.
Oh my God, it was so irritating. I wonder why they did that. I think it was to add tense. Like the same thing in the late season with parking the car. Like,
oh yeah,
this is to add the intensity between the conversation where you're like waiting, like, man, get this out, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and
you're just like on the edge of your seat because you're waiting on this to play out. Same thing here. They got this lame ass comedian up front, but it's in between. It's being weaved in between probably the most important information that Mama Soprano is going to share with Junior. Because if you caught what happened before then, Junior says they have a rat. He's understanding that somebody is snitching. Livia, being the cunning, conniving bitch that she is, she puts two and two together quick. And this is my opportunity to throw Tony under the bus. Well, he's seeing the psychiatrist. She didn't even preface it. She knew that she hadn't told him yet.
It's that person itching to tell, like.
Yeah, and then Junior's mind started racing from there. What'd you take from this scene?
First off, I got to give a shout out to the comedian.
Did you think it was intentional too? I'm sorry. Did you think it was intentional?
What?
Her following Junior's reveal that there was a rat in the crew. And then soon as he said that, she was like, well, Tony is seeing a psychiatrist. As if to tell Junior that that's probably where the leak is coming from.
Nah, I think it's like, while we're on the subject, I think it's more of that, honestly.
I think she's more conniving than that. Bro.
I think she's conniving, but she's itching to get it off because she was ready to get it off on the last episode. It wasn't even like no real context. Like, oh yeah, these headaches and this and that. I think she just when she found it out, itching to get it off. Like, we're here, we're talking. I invited you to come here to come, or he probably came to see her on her own because that's what he periodically does. I think she just while we're on the subject, I got to get this out. You know, of course she's gonna keep repeating herself, but I think that I don't know if this is intentional, but I don't know if this is like a shot to Jerry Seinfeld. Like, cause this comedian is like Jerry Seinfeld. But okay, sorry, I worked on that all night. I was trying to come up with a good joke there, but I don't know if that was kind of like some kind of like because you know they go
from his act.
Boy, I don't know if they do. You know they go at pop culture every here and there. But yeah, I think it's just why we on the subject. You think otherwise?
Yeah, I think she definitely set this up. She knew that this was the opportunity for her to tell Junior that Junior would put 2 and 2 together. As what she was trying to insinuate is that Tony is the one talking to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist may be talking to the FBI.
So you think that
was what she did?
You think she trying to put in motion to get him killed? Right here is what essentially.
Yes.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, I definitely think that she was trying to.
Junior the only one dumb enough to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, bro, the comedian, bro. Show heads. How many people? Wait,
he was drowning up there.
How many people think JFK is still alive? Bro, this guy was? Oh my gosh, he was so bad.
Better Call Saul, he did this. Yeah, he had a scene like this.
Oh, like you talk about the bingo thing.
Yeah, when he was calling this shit out.
Bro, I mean, show of heads, bro. Sorry. It was terrible. And then Olivia.
The lady that acted like she was listening to it, though. Telling them to shush, bitch.
Bro, that was his heckler. He got to have a heckler, you know what I mean? Bro, but Olivia saying, yes, Junior, yes. Like, just like, bro. Tony?
That's why I think it was purposeful, because she had to like literally spell it out for him. Like, look, dumb ass. God damn.
He is talking, bro. Right. Talking. Oh man.
All right. From there, man, we get a psychiatry session with Dr. Melfi, her ex-husband, and the kid. They're trying to get Melfi to drop her patient, and their psychiatrist drops a cringeworthy Jewish joke at the end.
Bro, we get into the
Jesus Christ, that was terrible. What did you think about this whole session, seeing Dr. Melfi in therapy?
Yo, so wait. So is this therapist? Is he Italian or Jewish?
Jewish. He Jewish.
Okay.
Yeah, he Hessian.
Yeah. He said, "Why don't you just send him over there that specializes in mafia depression?" Dude, like
he thought that was hilarious,
bro. And he was really laughing till they had to wheel it back into focus. Like that. Yeah. This therapist is hilarious, and then he really was like trying to get some clout for real. Like, I got, on my mom's side, I got a family baby. Like, he used to drive so and so. Like, trying to really get that reach. Like, like everybody's a fan of Tony in this weird way. Either they hate him or they love him.
Or that mafia lifestyle.
That mafia lifestyle. I mean, look at us. We're doing a whole podcast.
Nigga said he's a will man. Nigga, shut up,
bro.
But this was clearly his last session with them, I think, because this isn't the same psychiatrist that she uses throughout the series.
Yeah, well, this is the family psychiatrist. That's
but she had her personal one.
Yeah, exactly. So you talk about dude, yeah, kind of. I mean, I can see that. Yeah, they got it. But I think that's very interesting. You talk about really being on the up and up of like getting your mental right. You got a family one, and you got a. I think it's even interesting too that they are exes,
that's
and
probably good though. Yeah,
I think so. But even then,
I think
like
it's for the son.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. They exes. They still doing family therapy, so that's really interesting. That's commit.
But what do you think that the father was alluding to? Like, when he was talking to the son, then he was like, well, your mother, and then he was like, never mind, I'm not going to paint any graphic images. Because he was saying, like, what if? I don't know if he was.
What if he snapped and killed her?
Oh, okay. Because I was like,
what if he killed her and she was made an example of? Yeah, being overly dramatic.
Do you ever think that was really on the table?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, I guess kind of got to be, because it's like if you had to break doctor-patient confidentiality, then I might have to,
Yeah.
you know everything just about.
Yeah. I don't
Oh,
think it would have been all the way out of bounds for Tony. I think he
okay,
would have definitely considered if he had to.
okay.
We skipped over Chris still being depressed before this scene, and he got a phone call from his mom, and she tells him that his name was in the newspaper, and
Mm.
that's where we end the episode with Chris finally seeing his name in lights in the Star Ledger of New Jersey being mentioned as a gangster, and he buys every copy of the magazine. Cut, take, scene.
How did he stay? As we close here, how did he stay innocent? Like they got all these details.
It
I
was
don't
just
know.
speculation.
Oh,
They know the mafia exists. It's
oh
just
okay.
speculation. They can't prove it in court.
Mm.
These are sources
Because
people
the
are
guy would
talking.
never be able to. He'd never
Yeah,
talk because before he do that,
right. Like the reporters, like they probably got reporters probably get sources.
mm-hmm,
Talk to detectives. Detectives have an idea of what's going on,
mm-hmm.
but they ain't got enough information to actually it be a rock solid indictment.
Okay. All right. Well, that is our episode. But before we close our episode, we always like to leave with some awards here. So our first award, we rank this episode, and we rank it in a system of three. Either it's made being an untouchable episode, it's a good earner, where it's really good, or it's just another envelope. It's cool. There's no bad episode of Sopranos, we don't believe. So with that being said, Spike, how do you rank this episode?
Um, this was a made episode.
Mm,
100%. Yeah, this was a made episode. I loved this episode. I loved the underlying tones, the different perspectives on different cultures within cultures.
mm-hmm,
It was just great.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I mean, they hit everything on the nose. I think all of the superpowers of the focus of different episodes, they put it all in this one, and they did it better. Like Meadowland, I feel like they did that, but I feel like here they just like went Super Saiyan for those that are Dragon Ball Z fans. Like I feel like they really kicked it up crazy right here. So uh, the Good Earner Award. Who's the MVP of this episode for you?
MVP of this episode for me. Great question. I would go with the FBI dude.
Hmm.
The guy that you said that I said was a fan of Tony. I thought about it when you were saying that. He it was a great introduction.
Mm-hmm.
He's a different character from usually what we see in police being this asshole and do anything to get you locked up. That's a totally different take on it. I think we were able to see his mild manneredness and we were able to see it more. But I do think it was a strong episode by him just kind of not in my mind when I hear indictment and all of this, the doors getting kicked in,
Mm-hmm.
helicopters, the dogs in there. So for him to deter it away from that, I think was dope.
Mm-hmm.
Who you got?
It could be low hanging fruit depending on who it is. We try not to do Tony, y'all. Tony is like the creative player in the game. Like, we try not to do Tony. So unless it's just dead on or attach him to somebody, but I'm gonna go Christopher. He kind of was set out on the journey here. He was trying to get acknowledged. That's ultimately what mattered to him. He wanted to be acknowledged, and though it wasn't on a great scale, it was on a scale nonetheless. So I think he's that. The Broken Balls Award. Who you think took the biggest L this episode?
The Dr. Melfi's a family therapist with that lame ass joke and just the awkward ass I'm a part of the mob or my uncle or whoever the fuck he was talking about. That
Yeah.
was it. That was
Okay. Uh,
it. Who you
I,
have?
I think Melfi took the biggest L
What makes you say that?
because now I feel like her consciousness has began to kind of change a little bit, but she still decided to keep moving forward. I think how the scene went with the family thing was a L. I think the dinner was an L. I think the session with Tony was a L. Like, getting money thrown, like disrespecting your profession like that, crazy. Like, I don't appreciate you doing that and making me feel scared. Like, and you're still gonna see him after that. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I think she definitely, and she don't take a lot of L's, but I definitely think this is that. And lastly,
That's a good pick.
and lastly, and we do this every episode because you always say, "Do we do this?" Lastly, what is
You
the
ruined it, man. I was gonna ask again.
Oh man, I should have let it
I was
ride.
gonna do it one more time.
Lastly, what is the funniest, the flyest, or your favorite scene of this episode?
The funniest is definitely well, there's a lot of funny ones actually.
Yeah, it is really.
But I think the funny was when Chris stole the computer, totally. He did the research, and it's a really good model. I got it myself. And then Adriana following it up, but you just gave her a stolen gift at the wedding. Like that's hilarious.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
real
the
good.
funniest. The flyest. That's a fashion standpoint, right?
Yeah,
Mm, I think Carmela was dripped now.
she
She
was
had the
drip now
diamonds. She had the ice and giant diamonds on at the wedding. She looked like the head honcho's wife,
for sure.
100%. So shout out to
Absolutely.
Carmela there. And what was the last one?
And your favorite moment?
My favorite moment is just Christopher having his questions about life and his
Oh, the
his
Paulie.
arc as a character. Yeah, that was fucking great. I resonated with that.
Yeah, there's like that, and the one I'm gonna say. The funniest moment to me is the hands down is when Meadows going into it and this and that and this. He's like, okay, yeah, shut the up about it. Like when he came through with that bar, that was a mic drop. So that's the funniest, the flyest moment, hands down, the wedding. I mean, the lights was crazy. The zoom in was crazy. Lorenzo's daughter, like it was a legit. Everybody was fly. And lastly, my favorite moment. My number two is what you said, but mine would be is it's just the regularness of life, Tone. I don't know. I don't know. Like he didn't get a conclusion to this day. Like I still be like, man, I don't got a conclusion for that. So that's my favorite scene. So um we hope y'all have enjoyed Good Earners. If you haven't already, y'all can email us goodearnerpod@gmail.com. Y'all can also go on Instagram, goodearnerpod_Sopranos to DM us about the show or just enjoy the memes that are on there. Y'all can find us on YouTube as well. Good Earners reviewing the Sopranos if y'all like the visual aesthetic. That's what we do here, man. Anything you want to add to that, Spike?
Nope. I've enjoyed the legend of Tennessee Moltisanti. Look forward to wrapping the season up, man. Getting to this good finale.
Yes, sir. And don't forget about it.